Hey, what's up guys, Totally Dubbed here, and normally I wouldn't do a video like this, however I thought I should do a video simply because I highly appreciate the product that I've got. You're wondering what's the product? Well, the giveaway would be the interconnect over there. I've got a Samsung Galaxy S3 with a case over here. I've got DigiZoid ZO2, and in between the two, the amp and the phone, I've got an interconnect. Now, you might see, hey, that's a pretty cool interconnect, and you would be right, it is a pretty damn cool interconnect. This interconnect is from Custom Art. Piotr, or Peter, as his English name is, from Poland, made me this cable. It was reasonably well priced. I think it was about 25 or so pounds. 25 or 35 pounds, I can't remember, one of the two, but anyway, it is an extremely good cable. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is just for an information more than anything. Here is a normal interconnect. It's actually the DigiZoid ZO2 one. As you can see, it's silver plated, that's that. Obviously you can get gold plating one, and you could just use this normally. Now, the reason why I have this sort of cable is because of the sound quality. Now, some people might think I'm mad, like, oh, why would you spend that much money on just a small cable when you can buy new earphones? Well, when you have earphones which are worth £400 or even 100 plus pounds, you tend to think, well, I've reached what I want on my earphones. You've got a good phone or your good source or whatever, you've maybe got a good amp, and the amp I've got is an amp of choice. I quite like the amp, the sound that the amp gives, and ZO2 V3's bass I love. And then you want that extra bit of refinement, and that refinement comes with a cable. Now, first, I'll just quickly explain silver and gold plating. There's no difference sound quality wise, silver, gold plating. This applies for HDMI cables, cables like this, big cables, whatever. Gold plating really is for to protect the jack. It's really like a corrosion, oxidation. Oh, I can't even say it. More you plug in and out a gold jack, it will become silver. After a while, it will become silver because you've plugged it in and out so much. That's why it's called gold plated. It's not gold, it's gold plated. If it was gold, then that would be pretty goddamn expensive for just that bit. But gold plating means it's got a plate of gold finish on it, and that protects it from corrosion. Now you might think, well, why would that happen, or oxidization and all these things? What does that affect? Well, it's simple. Galaxy S1. Over here, I do this, imagine, and because of the corrosion or oxidization which occurs, you do that, it distorts the sound. And I realized that biggest thing was with used Sennheiser IE8s. Now IE8s are like 180 quid earphones, and Sennheiser stupidly decided to put nickel or was it silver jacks, which meant that when I listened to them on the go, it constantly was cutting out. And I was like, screw this crap, I don't want it. But gold plating jacks don't do that. Obviously over time they will. Now you might think, well, when will that occur? Well, if you use that for say a year, you'd probably realize this with silver plated jacks, but with gold plated jacks you'll be extending life to maybe 3, potentially 5 years in terms of its lifespan before it starts doing what the silver plating, well, non-gold plated one would do. So that's just an information between silver and gold plating. Now, you should not, when you go in buying expensive stuff, or expensive stuff, or anything above, say, £3, it should be gold plated, really. HDMI cables, these cables, coaxial cables, any sort of cable, gold plating is basically what you want to go for. Anyway, secondly, you've got L-shaped jacks, left L-shaped jacks, right angled jacks, whatever, however they're called, or however you want to call them, should I say. And as you can see, I've got a right angle jack over here with a straight plug over here. So that's just customer's preference, and that's my preference in terms of my rig, as you could see. Then there's the length, obviously, so that's the length of the cable, and then finally there's the inner bits of the cable. Now you can't see the inner bits of this cable, but most of the time the cables which I use, they don't use good quality wire. Copper and silver are very good for music, and in this case it's a pure silver strand. It's a triple braided silver cable, and it's a very nice cable to look at. But you might think, okay, it's nice to look at, but does that justifies the price? Well, the price comes with two things: one, sound quality improvements, and two, the work it takes to do this, and also to buy these jacks. These jacks cost money, and therefore, altogether assembled, gives you a finished product. Now, I'm not saying go and pay 100 something pounds for a cable like this, but I'm saying it is worth paying, say, 20 to 30 quid for a cable like this with this quality and this craftsmanship as well. Now, in terms of the sound quality, silver for me, a pure silver cable, brings out the mids. Now you might think you're a bit crazy, Chris. Brings out the mids, really? Yes, it does. If you listen to, if you actually read my TF10 review, the Ultimate Ears TF10, so the Frankenstein review, basically I called it, Frankenstein experiment, those earphones were lent out by a good mate Paul, and you could hear the difference between the three cables, and the three cables were different, made by different people. One was stock, one not, and whatnot, and that brings out different traits in the sound quality. So imagine this as the sound curve of your earphones, like the perfect earphone, a flat line, and with the change of the cables, it changes how it sounds. It could be a dip in the mids, like so, like the stock UE cables. It could be a nice increase in the mids, like that, or it could be an increase in the bass, like another UE cable that was there. In this case, the silver cable for me does something like this. Just boosts it up just a little bit, not too much where it becomes over the top, but just a little bit. Now, hopefully you can see what I'm trying to say. When you've got an equalizer and you've got like a little line over there, it changes the lines and everything like that. Well, that's a similar thing. It's almost like an equalizer, but without the equalizer. But that does not mean that, oh, it's using equalizer, I could just use a normal equalizer. Sure you can, but that does not mean the same thing. This is actual physical hardware difference, whereas the other one is more of a software implementation. So when you're using the equalizer, it's a software implementation of increase the mids, lower the lows. You know, I want higher highs. You know, things like that. That's just three sliders, imaginary sliders I had. But that does not improve the sound quality, it just modifies the sound quality. This, on the other hand, improves the sound qualities and changes the sound qualities. Then you could judge if it improves it or not. By that I mean, in my opinion, it does, by quite a significant margin. I mean, I can tell the difference pretty much easily, blindfolded, put it that way. But you know, what I'm trying to explain is that this is not something like is like an equalizer. Put it that way. I'm just trying to give you some examples. I'm trying to think in my head. It's quite hard, but my brain's not really working. But yeah, that's what it does. Now, for you to justify the price and whatnot, that just comes with what equipment you have. It always goes with whatever sort of audio equipment. You always start with the earphones or the headphones first. You'd also look at your source. As well. Those are two very important things. For example, if you have a really crap source, let's say a Samsung Galaxy S2, that's a bad source, you'll have a bad sound quality. But it doesn't really matter, but it's something very important. If you have a Galaxy S1 or a Galaxy S3, for example, or an iPod Classic or iPhone, they're very good sources, and therefore you're starting off good before you change other things around it. Source is very important. Then you move onto your earphones or headphones. Earphones and headphones are very important. So let me just lay this out for you. You got source, that's my S3. Earphones, let me get my PFE232s out. PFE232s, right there. So those are your earphones. So those two are the most important things. Right. After that, it comes with the music quality of your in your source. So for example, 320 kilobits is what I suggest that you should go for, or 256 to 320 is over 256 is what you should be aiming for. 192 is low, and anything lower than that is just a bit too low. Even if you've got high-end earphones or low-end earphones, you'll hear the difference. So make sure you get over 256. Now some people will say, oh yeah, you should get lossless, you should get Apple lossless, you should get FLAC, you should get I don't know, any type of format which is really high. Now they're great, but I honestly can't tell the difference, and these are with £400 earphones, ears that review earphones and headphones. I listen to quite a lot of stuff, and honestly, between 320 and FLAC, I couldn't tell a difference. Between 256 and 320, I couldn't tell a difference. Between 256 and FLAC, I could tell a really slight difference, but that wouldn't justify the difference in space, because the higher quality you go, right, it gives you a higher space, as in, you need more space for it. So a 3-minute song would be like 40 megabytes with lossless or whatever. It's just examples, 40 megabytes, and a normal one will be, say, 3 megabytes, and that huge difference. So if I have 1,000 songs, you times that by 40, that's too much space for me to handle in my SD cards and whatnot. But anyway, it just gives you an example. Anyway, after that comes, if you want, an amp, and in my case it's got the DigiZoid ZO2. DigiZoid ZO2. Now the amp for me was just like that extra little touch to the sound. It blends the sound, adds that little missing bit that I was missing with the PFE232s, and in that case was the bass, and this ZO2 brings out the bass, and it's exactly what I like and exactly what I want. It also adds this kind of like adding to the sound type thing. Now there's a confusion with amps. People think, oh, amps change the signal and whatnot. Well, they do in some respect, but in all honesty, whatever this produce, this is not going to make it magically better. It's not going to go and take something and go, hey, here you go, here's like the magic wonderland. Sure, they do conversions and stuff like that, but long story short, if this is crap, this is not going to get any better so that you hear it better. So do bear that in mind. Amp is pretty much as it goes an amp. It changes the sound in some ways. Some sound warmer, some colder, some are transparent, some aren't transparent, some give good synergy. Long story short, all personal preference. In my case, bass is added with this like no other amp I've ever heard, and even huge amps can't produce the bass that this little thing can do. Super portable, great, on the go, really light, love it. That's my amp of choice. You've been using it for quite a while. So now you've got this nice little setup and you want something in between, because you need to connect this to this, and this is connected to that. And in my case, it's where the custom interconnect, can get the words out, comes in. And that, for me, sums up the my audio sort of adventure, and basically tries to explain you a little bit of how audio works. I'm not super technical, definitely not. I'm not going to give you graphs, I'm not going to give you measurements, I'm not going to give you exact data on how this is good and how this is bad or whatnot. I'm not also going to try and prove to you scientifically or with numbers that this should be chosen over this, but I am going to tell you that if you want a nice setup, you should start always with this, go to that, then that, then that, and each one is refining the step. So the better the earphone, that's great, but then you want to match that good earphone with, and imagine you have an amp with a good earphone, you want to match that good earphone with, for example, a good music bit rate. So if you have, say, 192 kilobits music in there, you've got £400 earphones and an amp and this interconnect, then you're going to realize that that music sounds really bad. Then you get that music in 320, and then you do that and suddenly the whole music changes, and the only thing you've changed is that song. And that song, I would like to emphasize, comes from buying music legally. So when you download music from YouTube, when you rip it from some random source, torrent it or whatever, you're getting a bad quality music. Of course, you can get CD quality, you can get CDs on torrents and whatnot, but The problem with that is that you're not supporting the artist. Now you might think, hey, yeah, but this guy makes millions. Say, for example, let's take Chris Brown. He makes millions. Why do I need to support him? Well, it's quite simple. If you don't pay him, then he's not going to make the music that you like. And when he doesn't make the music you like, then you won't be listening to music you like. It's pretty much as simple as that. It's almost like going to a restaurant, eating food and not paying, even though you love the meal. And then getting served by a waitress or a waiter, and they were really kind and really great to you, and then you decide not to tip them because you don't give a damn. It's almost like that. So see it in terms of that. If you like music, sure, download it if you want to listen to it through your system, legally or illegally. But when you do like the song, then go ahead and buy it, so that the artist is realizing, hey, I'm actually making music. People are buying this and they're actually liking it. Doesn't matter if it's a recognized artist or it's not. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the music. Problem is, nowadays with the music industry, quite a lot of people are downloading stuff, and the more that's happening, it means that music is less and less music is getting released, because people are like, why should I make music when people are just going to download it from YouTube? And if I don't put it on YouTube, no one will know me, so it's a lose-lose situation. Catch-22. So you should just contribute to the artist where needed. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this little information video, a little overview video. I would like to say a huge thanks to Custom Art for making this really wonderful cable. Absolutely lovely. I'm really enjoying this cable. Love it. I'm speechless. I don't know how to explain it, but hopefully I tried to explain it a little bit. Lovely cable, works brilliant. And Piotr / Peter, brilliant guy to deal with, lovely guy. So give him a thumbs up on Facebook, and check out his product. He does quite a few interconnects and like cables for earphones and whatnot. Also in this rig, I'd like to thank DigiZoid and Audeo Phonak for one, DigiZoid being absolutely lovely as an amp company, really love it. Special thanks to Karen especially, and Audeo Phonak for obviously sending me the Phonaks for review. And these are not cheap earphones, these are £400 earphones. Oh, and finally, almost forgot, Complyfoam. Love Complyfoam. Thanks a lot for them for sending me tips and whatnot, quite literally, and they always cease to amaze me. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this little video overview of like audio setups and whatnot, and my setup as it is. Alright guys, totally dubbed out. Bye bye.